Hey, the Son of the Road haunts, and today I am covering what Spirit Halloween can do to be more scary. And closer to the end of the video, what you can do so that Spirit can be more scary. And I'm not joking, but you'll see when I come to it. But for the first little part, what can Spirit do to be more scary? Now, of course, we all like to make rant videos on this stuff about how they should be more scary. And of course, there are suggestions there. But I'll just give what I think are some realistic possibilities. Hopefully, Spirit's watching this, so, if they are, then these are genuine things that I'd want to see. And so, yeah. So, the first idea I have, although this isn't very realistic for me, is just making the store scary again. Having the bloody props in stores, having the themes scary, pretty self-explanatory. One way they could do that is by, as I said multiple times, moving the back theme back to where it usually was, so it can be, freakier. But I don't think this is as realistic, and I don't think this is what Spirit will do. So, yeah. But the second way I have, and I do think this is a little more realistic, I'm not a big fan of this, but because as we've seen with the Widow, they should do scary and bloody props, but at least make them online only or filler. Now I know people aren't gonna like me to say that, but the point is, at least we have the selection, At least we have props to choose from that we would find, scary and freaky. So I do think that's a very realistic option and something I would like to see. Even if, like, Barnyard Butcher, Evil Scientist, Convulsing Nurse return, if they're online only, then I think that is okay if Spirit wants to keep up this, brand advertiser-friendly image. So, yeah. Now, the next thing that I have here, and this is pretty much the final little point, is that they can do the store scary themselves. However, different ways. Now, what I mean by this is not necessarily scary in the, blood, guts, but one thing that I don't think people give enough credit for with this year is that they're actually doing kind of decent at being scary this year. Now, I know you might hate me for that, but let me explain. Firstly, there are a lot more, non-talking props that are just, creepy, Like Lucky Bottoms. I know some people find them annoying. Monty is a good example. Even some props like the Strawman or Lord Raven. Like, the Strawman talks about sharpening his tools and stuff, which could be scarier, but you obviously know what he means. And Lord Raven is talking about, picking the flesh off your bones. Which, as opposed to being about, your soul will be here forever, that's actually a pretty good step. I mean, Possessed Pumpkin's phrases are very kid-friendly, but at least he talks about, carving up your head into a jack-o'-lantern, as opposed to, binding your soul to the farm forever. There are a few jump scare props this year, we do have Betty Sharp, who's pretty bloody. We have the Widow online only, of course. And overall, I don't think enough people give this year enough credit. Even if, and I do think some of these scary, in quotation mark, props, some of them are pretty sucky. Like Lucky Bottoms isn't very detailed and stuff. Bag of Bones and Tombstone Terror are self-explanatory. Young Crouchy, well, technically not, talking is Young Crouchy, whether you like that or not. So, but that's just my idea. Things don't have to be scary and, holding heads, missing arms, to be, scary. And, they don't have to be bloody and stuff. They can as easily do just, standard, non-bloody. I mean, the Roblox lineup from this year, the Roblox ideas, I think that's the kind of thing I'm talking about, because there isn't a lot of bloody props, and yet some of them are still pretty freaky, Bon Appetit, I think it was called, the Vivian Snatcher, those were good, and there was barely even a speck of blood on them, so I do think that is something else Spirit can do. For example, like Monty is genuinely kind of freaky. Feels like he came back from 2014 and stuff. I mean, think about like Coat Rack Monster, Peekaboo Penny. Those didn't have an inch of blood on them. And yet they were like, you can call them a scary prop. So that's just what I think. And now on to the second part. What can you do to, fix Spirit Halloween 2023 and, the future years and just any year? Because I know a lot of people were very disappointed with this year. And in my opinion, I do quite agree. Because it's, I think they really messed up on some fronts here. But what this is going to be, and mind you, this is going to be very surface level advice, like some very, Gary V monologue-esque, surface level. But I don't think quite enough people realize this. Maybe I'm just being stupid and self-righteous when I say that, but basically, at Spirit's core, it's a business. It's made to make money. It's not like a YouTube channel or something. Well, that's wrong. But it's not really a YouTube channel, non-profit. They are meant to sell things. And they're meant to make money. Now, obviously, I do think part of Spirit's business is, just for fun. Because obviously, if they really want to make money, they just make like a drop shipping business or something. I don't know. But in the end, they're meant to make money. So no matter how many angry rant videos you make about Spirit needs to be scarier, well, yes, they could listen to those. What really comes down to is what you buy. Now, I know that's very surface level, but I warned you. So, what I mean by this is, think about it this way. This is what I like to think about. If you buy an animatronic, let's just think about that. If you buy an animatronic, you will see it next year, and more of it. Now, that sounds a little weird, but what I mean is, like, if you buy Nozzles, for example, then you'll see a lot more things like Nozzles next year. So if you break down what he is, that could be either a good thing or a bad thing. I mean, like, he's an original concept, he fogs, so if we get more stuff like that, that would tell Spirit, people like their fogging props, so let's make more. So that would be pretty good. Although, he's A, a clown, which tells Spirit that people, like clowns, and B, his phrases are pretty cheesy, so that means that we don't care if the phrases are cheesy, we'll buy it anyways. And same with something like Lord Raven. If you buy Lord Raven, expect to see things like him more next year. Whether that's, them returning, or like more bird monsters, more like Reaper cloak things, just that. So if you really want to shape Spirit and what you want it to be, whether that's more scary, hell, even less scary, if you love collecting clowns, just be mindful of what you buy. For example, if the flashback props sell well, that tells Spirit, hey, people like these props being brought back, so they're gonna bring back more. Like, if you collect only clowns and that's your display, if you buy a clown, that tells Spirit that people, want more clowns, because that's where the money is. So they'll make more. So that's just what I think you should really do, other than making, like, angry rant videos and stuff, because I'll still do those, and you still can too, I'm not bashing that. Plus, they could dissuade people from purchasing things. For example, this year, I was originally going to get Lord Raven and Nozzles, but I decided not to get Nozzles because A, he's a waste of money in my opinion, and B, he is, as I've said, kind of a cheesy clown, and also just, like, a clown, period, which means, that's, we might get more of those next year. So, that's just what I think. Now, I'm instead gonna get Monty, which I already have, and Bog Zombie. These are two more fundamentally scary props when you, think about it. So, if you buy those, then that will tell Spirit something like, hey, we like more zombies, or like more scary props. So that's really what you gotta do. Again, I know that was surface level and stuff, but in the end, Spirit is a business, and they'll go where the money is. Of course. Now, the resurgence of clowns from Spirit, as most of you recent haunters probably know, that was probably influenced by a few things like the scary clown epidemic of 2016, the, It movies, but also something you gotta keep in mind. Another reason why there are so many clowns now is because of this fucker right here. This is the towering clown, obviously. And because so many people just ate him up, bought him, all that good stuff, Spirit went, hey, maybe we should make more clowns. And other companies thought, hey, we should make more clowns. And all those clowns sold well. So Spirit's like, oh, fine, you want to make clowns? We'll make clowns too. And so they did. And so then Morse Costumes makes a whole lineup of clowns, pretty much. So Spirit does the same thing, and then bleeds into Party City, and blah blah blah, until you have a Tiki Island filled with clown props. So, in the end, buy what props you think will shape the future for Spirit. Also, those things I just mentioned, those are things that if Spirit's watching, then they should take into consideration. Make your videos on this, I'd suggest, because if we really want change when it comes to, like, scarier props, just use these kind of things. So, that was the video. Like and subscribe if you're new. Tell me if you agree, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.